at scale. And typically we use 5-day challenges for that process. So service-based entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, subject matter experts tend to be my client base.
Awesome. Mata, welcome.
Hi, everybody. How are you? I am a well-being coach, soon to be certified as a health awareness coach. My niche is physician well-being. I work at a hospital as a resident fellow coach. My ideal clients are actually corporations. They care about wellness and their employees' health. So
awesome.
Happy to be.
We've known each other a long time, so welcome. Great to have you. One of my business besties, Sajad Hussein, and probably the smartest one. He's the guy I call when I need business advice. Sajad, who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
My name's Sajad Abid Hussein. It's Arabic for very sexy. I drive a $76,000 twin turbo and I own a mountain. Thank you.
You're welcome. He's actually a productivity coach and he is kick-ass at what he does. His program is super successful, and don't let the twin turbo and the how many girlfriends I have fool you. Super smart guy. Anyway, Mike O'Neill, welcome, my friend.
Hey, hello, everybody. I now describe myself as a leadership coach. And if I had to describe what my passion is, it's going to be to build leaders who are really followed by choice, not necessarily by a mandate. I do not own a $76,000 car, nor do I own a mountain.
All right. Well, can't live up to the hype then, I guess, Mike. It's okay. You'll make it. Jeff, welcome.
Hey, everybody. My name is Jeff Serra, and I am a self-development sensei and Reiki practitioner. The people that I serve are those who really struggle with self-sabotage, self-limitations, self-confidence. And yeah, that was all the questions, right?
Yep, that's it. Welcome. Judy Kane.
Hello, I am I help people take out their head trash. And my best clients are those who are ready to make the changes they need to, because they know it's up to them to do what they need to get themselves out of the way. But my best referrals are coaches, because I frequently serve as a resource to them when their clients are stuck in the coaching programs.
Awesome. Great resource for coaches to have a mindset expert on staff like me. Judy's a great help. Drew, welcome.
Hey, everybody. My name is Drew Durante, Mindset Mastery Coach. You know how men are expected to suck it up, man up, no emotion, don't ask for help, and just do it. I help men reach inside and get the tools within themselves to stop self-destructing and self-sabotage behaviors. Men who are 35 to 55 who've endured divorce or stuck in a relationship, the death of a parent or illness of a child, and job loss. That's who I want to talk to, 35 to 55, whether they're entrepreneurs or middle management and corporations.
Awesome. Drew, I have a couple other coaches for men in my network. I think you'd make a powerful combination. So I'll connect. I'll connect you. Dr. Dorothy, welcome.
Thank you, darling. Good to see you. It's been a long time.
Twice in one day. Woo!
All this in heaven too. Alrighty, I am Dr. Dorothy Martin Neville, and I am an executive leadership coach. I work with two different populations. I work with women in a 10-month program who are in transition, ready to take themselves and their companies to the next level. And I work with high-level executives who have lost themselves in the process of achieving success, to help them rediscover the person they lost and start to recognize that our career is really meant to reflect our life purpose. It's not to reflect a method of survival, but a way of living and coming alive. Thank you.
Well, welcome. Chella.
Hello. Chella, guiding service-based women entrepreneurs to increase their fees and make a bigger impact out into the world. Pleasure to be here.
Now you know I like that statement. Well done, Chella. Michael Leibowitz, been a long time. Great to see
Been
you.
ages. Good to see you. Hey everyone, Michael Leibowitz. I create messages that will make you a ton more money. My background's in behavioral neurology and linguistics, and I work with really cool people.
Yeah, you do. Love it. Susie Taylor, welcome. My
Yes,
sister from
ma'am.
another mister.
Yeah. I am your all around one-stop shop copy content writer, and my ideal clients are you guys. I naively believe that if I can help you help your clients, then I am saving the world or changing the world or whatever. So that's me.
Love it. The ripple effect of helping your clients. I love it. Kathleen Day, 5 out of 5. Welcome, my new friend.
Thank you. Thank you. You remember me from TNG many years ago.
I do. I do.
Excellent. My company is 5 out of 5, and I work with entrepreneurs and executives to have that 5-star experience every day. I'm a professional Virgo, and I offer fast, astonishingly simple solutions for organizing back office operations.
I love it. I love it. Christine, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? Great to see you.
Good, great to see you. So I partner with women diagnosed with autoimmune disease. I use a trauma-informed approach with an emphasis on post-traumatic growth. My ideal client is really any client because I am always learning and growing.
Beautiful. Well, welcome to Coach Conversations for you first timers. Christine is one of them. Don't forget, put all your contact information in the chat, who you are, who you serve, and how to connect with you best. David Visco, welcome.
Hey, good seeing you, Suzanne. Twice in one day.
One day. Yes.
It's a great way to end the day. Yeah, my name's David Visco. I'm a profit acceleration strategist. And my ideal client is a service-based business owner that's making $250,000 to $500,000 that wants to get into the $1 million club. That's me. Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Thank you.
Welcome. Great to have you. Gary Bowringer, welcome.
Hey there, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Okay, good. All right, Gary Bowringer, my company's Bowringer Creative, and I am a boutique advertising agency that works very often with dental practices that are, somebody's buying the business from the retiring guy and they need to rebrand and put a new, fresh face forward. So that's me.
Love it. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
RJ, my superhero friend.
Hello. My name is RJ Redden. I am an unconventional traction strategist, which means that coaches hire me, the heart-driven type, hire me to take their clients on engaging experiences as opposed to your regular marketing funnels. I walk on the wild side of marketing, and if you want to walk with me, I'll take you under my cape. That's all I got.
I love it. I've been under that cape a couple times. Oh, that sounds wrong. It does sound wrong. Sorry. But I'm just going to say it. I've been under that cape a couple times and in her back office, and it's been amazing. And wait till you see what she's going to create for my community. Just saying. I always tend to make really weird statements like that. So I'm glad everybody got a little chuckle. Fred Block, now you know how we roll around here. We tend to be a little funny and off color.
Yeah, I love it, especially the Jesus was black comment. That's
yeah. Yeah. Get ready. That's a wild ride over there.
Yeah, good. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
So it's good to see everyone. My name is Fred Block. I'm a neurodiversity coach, and I work with neurodivergent young adults on health and wellness topics.
Love it. Well, you and RJ will be fast friends. Love it. And welcome. Bruce Fleck, welcome. I picked him up on LinkedIn. Don't really know Bruce, but hopefully we're going to get to know each other. And he didn't hear me. Did you hear me, Bruce? I just told everybody how I picked you up on LinkedIn.
Thank you. And having some technical issues here. So sorry about that.
That's
Yes,
okay.
I'm Bruce Fleck. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and you can blame Chris Colt for me showing up this evening. And I help busy professionals use AI to improve their productivity and scale their impact.
Beautiful. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Charlotte Barry.
Hi, this is a great group tonight. Very nice to have some of these new faces. I'm Charlotte Berry. I am a workplace communications expert, work in the Carolinas right now, North and South Carolina, with companies 50 to 500 employees to help them improve the internal communication.
Beautiful. Jason Croft, officially known as Hair.
It's the hair.
Oh, the hair. Sorry. The hair. The hair.
Jason Croft. I'm in lovely Colorado. I work with experienced coaches and consultants to create a visibility platform for them, usually in the form of a video podcast that actually helps them expand their reach and grow their business. That's me.
Yes, yes. Doing some incredible work for me right now. Thank you, my friend. Taking my live stream series and turning it into a podcast, YouTube channel, and so much more. So thank you. Well done. Michael Haynes, welcome.
Hey, Suzanne, how are you? Good evening, everyone. Michael Haynes. I am a B2B go-to-market specialist. So I work with small and medium professional service firms like your accounting, law, IT firms. Your 10 to 50 person firms are looking to build and grow, so acquire new business clients. So I work with them on their product development, acquisition, and retention. I am based in Sydney, Australia, but work with clients in Australia, Canada, the US, and also in Singapore as well. Great to be here. I'm a client of Chris Colt, big advocate of what he's doing. I'm doing my own challenge. What he does is fantastic. It does work. So I've just dropped in briefly to say hello, check this out. See you again, Suzanne. Say hello to a few other people. And that's it. I'll put my details up there shortly. I can't stay for the whole thing because I have a client meeting with someone who I got through one of the previous challenges that I did with Chris. I have a client meeting shortly, so just popping in. So that's me.
Wonderful. Is it early morning for you in Australia?
Yes, it is. It's Thursday, 10:15 a.m. So
Nice.
Not too early for me because I've been up since 5 a.m. But Chris can tell you all about my early morning exploits of dialing in at 1 a.m., 3 a.m. So
Nice.
This is pretty late in the day for me. So it's very civilized. So
well,
great to see you all.
welcome. Great to have you. Talia, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. So my name is Talia. I have my own digital marketing agency called 21 Digby, and I service primarily thought leaders. So that could be coaches, authors, speakers, and entrepreneurs.
Well, welcome. Great to have you. Great to see you here. And last but not least, one of my favorite people, Michelle Murder.
Oh, Suzanne, I'm so glad to be here. Trust me, technical difficulties. I'm Shelly. I live near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I show people how they can predict buying behavior in less than 90 seconds, improve all their relationships, and close deals, impact their lives, and increase their income in less than 90 seconds.
Well, how do you like that? Well done. Make sure everybody's contact information is in the chat. And we are going to kick off this with a question, and then I'm going to let Chris take the stage. What would it be like for you? And for those of you who aren't friends with me on Facebook, I just made a post about attracting 50 new people to my Facebook group without doing really much of anything except being myself. What would that be like for you to have 50 new leads come into your pipeline? And I don't consider them leads until I meet with somebody and actually talk to them, or they come to an event or whatever. But 50 new people attracted to who I am and what I'm doing in less than a 3-week period. What would that be like for you in your business to have that happen? And Chris is going to dive into talking about his method for making that happen. and I'm a huge fan of his method. So Chris, take the stage. I'm going to put you on feature so we get a nice little recording of you, and take it away.
Great. It's great to see everybody tonight. Thank you for coming out. Michael, this is odd. I mean, you're up, like, this is a late meeting. I will say for Michael, him and I meet all the time, and it's usually at the very end of my day, and he's already 4 or 5 hours into his day at this point. So shout out to Michael. Bruce, Chella, thanks for coming to support this. And, I know a lot of the other ones that are on here, so it's great to see those lovely faces, and some of you I don't. We'll get to know each other as we go along. And obviously I'm connected to quite a few on LinkedIn. We've had some conversations. But what I heard out of each and every single one of you right now? And so Jesus was black. That's awesome to see. Just got to say, I just noticed that on your screen. So I just got to shout out on that one, because that was pretty cool to see. But here's something that I heard out of each and every one of you. You're impacting lives. That's really what you're doing. And you have a mission that matters. Years ago, I was actually starting this journey, and somebody's like, you have a mission that matters. And I quickly took it to, no, missions that matter. Some people seem to use that hashtag, because the clients I work with all have a mission that matters. And what is that, right? That means more than likely they've been through something in life, whatever that something is. It could be trauma. It could be something amazing in their corporate career. It could be whatever it is, but they figured something out that got them to the other side of something that many people are trying to get to, okay? Each and every one of you have done this in some shape or form. So to me, that means you have a mission that matters. The biggest challenge each and every one of you have is, how do you get that mission that matters in front of the right people, the people that you can impact? And how do you get that out to them in a way that they get to know, like, and trust you in a very short window of time? Something it took me a while to do. I come from 25 plus years of sales background, and that really means nothing at the end of the day, okay? People are like, oh, you got great sales skills. No, I have human skills. I know how to build relationships. I know how to be real. I know how to be authentic. All those things they tell you to do, but it comes down to, no matter how you look at this at the end of the day, what I'll talk about tonight, being a real human being, serving people first. That's the most important thing I want you to take out of this. Because what I'm going to share with you, if you don't have a servant's heart, I will tell you right now, what I share tonight does not work. It does not work, because the people that attend the events, the people that go through the process that I'll show you that works, they will smell it so quick and run far, far away. The beauty of what I'm going to talk about right now as we go through this is, there's 2 things. One, I'm going to teach you how to repel people really fast. And that's a good thing. It is a very good thing, because you want to work with the right clients. 2, I'm going to teach you how to attract the right clients and bring them through a quick process in under 5 days, could be 3 days, that converts them into loyal, lifelong clients. And a few that have been on here, there was another that I'll probably join late. They've been with me on this journey for 3 to 4 years since I stepped out and onto entrepreneurship, right? And that takes a lot to walk away from a corporate career that I just was burnt out of. It was about quotas each and every day. If I was killing it, you're great, Chris, you're awesome. 2 months later, when I burnt my whole sales system and had nothing coming across the finish line, hey, you're going to be fired in a week. It's like, wow, how does that turn, right? So I got burnt out about that, doing that. And now what I love that I do, I get to make an impact. I actually get to show people I care, and I get to see the results that they deliver to other people. So I could show you slides, we could go through all that, but I want this to be as interactive as possible. I want you to ask questions. I am going to show you one slide though, because I want to make a point with this one slide. So I will share that. But before I share that, here's the 3 things most people come to me for. 1, and it usually starts with this one. I have a client acquisition and conversion problem, Chris. I'm like, great, I can help you, but that's really not the problem. There's a root cause behind that problem. And typically, depending on situations, that root cause is either lead generation, okay? Am I bringing them in, the right people, or am I nurturing? I mean, how many of you out there probably have a great list of 50, 60, 70, maybe it's 20 people, whatever number is that you're like, wow, these are good people. What are you doing to nurture them? That's what most people are missing, because I can literally walk somebody through, Chris, I got a list of 80 people I've talked to in the last year. I got to start all over. I'm like, well, what have you done in the last year to nurture those people? Because that's what you're missing. So almost all the time, what ends up coming out of this is people are like, wow, I need a nurturing system. And that's what we work on. Other times it's the lead generation. See, the client acquisition, when you follow the process, that's actually the easiest part of this all. That's really the easiest part that people miss. It's all the things that you're not doing. So what I end up doing is bringing them a simple, scalable system that provides them a community of buyers. It's repeatable, it's scalable. And the beauty, the thing everybody misses when they work with me, and I don't even bring this up because it's one of those soft benefits, right? And, you know, most people always look at, I need the hard benefits. What's the financial results? What's my business going to look like? The soft result, which is actually one of the biggest results you're going to get, is you become an authority in your field without even knowing it, right? Because people think you need all these amazing degrees, all these great things. Like I could sit here and I'm sure many others, you can all brag. I got this, I got that, I did this, I got that. You know, here I am later in life, 50 now, and I'm like, can I have all my money back for all those degrees? Because they mean nothing. They mean nothing. It's what I learned in the school of hard knocks of actually understanding how to relate to people and finding ways that I could help them. And if it wasn't me directly, finding ways others could help them that led to everything that led to this moment of things we're going to share. So one slide I want to share with you, and I'm just going to do, I mean, I have quite a few if we get into this and you guys want to see some examples. I did prepare a little bit, but I want you all to see this and I'll share this in a second. I just want to make sure it's up because I think this will make you laugh. And I want to ask you this, okay? See, look at this, right? There's an old way and a new way of selling, okay? And which way would you choose? Okay, here's the old way. I come from a corporate career, and this is the way we sold in the corporate career. We went out, we emailed. We had nonstop posting and praying, all those strategies, right? Then we created endless content and whatever that was, sending out emails, sending out flyers, advertising. Then we were doing a bunch of pitching in the DMs and cold messaging, right? This was our life. And this was actually my life when I first got out of corporate America and started going on this journey. Lots of follow-ups, endless free calls. Listen, you got to stop the free calls, and I'll share a strategy that works all the time out of this. Stop the free calls. You got to stop them. They're just not worth the time. And what ends up happening, I can share some numbers with you on this. You get a few clients, you get a lot of no-shows, you get a bunch of rejection, and it's rinse and repeat. That model is not sustainable. I mean, how many of you, raise your hands here if you can, I'd love to see, are living that model right now that I just showed you. All right, I don't see too many hands up. All right. So that's the model that most people work. Where the world is now, where it's going faster is, and I'm going to say this, virtual events. Now, I use 5-day challenges. There's multiple other ways we do things. I'll share why I use 5-day challenges, and they could be 3-day challenges also. But what you get to do is serve an audience at scale, teach them something they don't know, solve a problem, build trust, and invite them to work with you. So the beauty that happens when you have this really nailed and dialed is those that are invited to work with you, if you need to have a one-on-one call with them still, because I still have one-on-one calls, but I only have them with people that know why they're there, right? They know what I do. They know how I can help them. And 90% of them come in to be clients after that moment. So when this clicked for me back in 2018, after nonstop, endless sales calls to put people on my 12-week LinkedIn accelerator, I stopped doing one-on-one calls unless they were paid. Hey, you pay me for a one-on-one call, we'll absolutely do that. Totally different story, right? Michael Haynes knows about that, right? But what you get to do in these events, depending on your offers, whatever they are, you convert at scale. So this is when you end up having those, it might be a 5K day, it might be a 10, a 50, a 100K day. It's not about the money, okay? That's really not the important part. It's about the lives that you impact and being able to do that at scale. There's nothing better than knowing for what I do. If I do a challenge a month, which I used to do one a month, that I could at the end of the month have a 50K month, a 60K month. It happened multiple times. I don't like talking about the financial components of these things though, because everybody's different. I've worked with a client who says, oh my gosh, I got 2 new clients. That's huge for them because they were not getting clients. For me, that's the most amazing thing to hear. The next challenge, I got 5 clients, Chris, right? That's what I like to see because I know when they make that impact, when they get those, they're going to change somebody's life, which is going to change somebody's life and multiply from there. So everybody's different. It also depends where you're at in phases. You know, there's other people who teach challenges. There's no denying that fact. And many of my clients have worked with those other individuals. And one of the things they've said, the difference is all those people do is talk about the $100,000, $500,000, $1 million challenges. Okay, listen. It happens. Maybe if you're one of those influencers, one of those really well-known names, right? Damon John, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins. They use these things because they work, but they work at a much different scale than most of us can. I sit here and watch the person who comes in. I never got 2 clients at once. It just happened. go do a cartwheel, pat yourself in the back, and did all the right things. I never brought 5 people on at once. See, they use the word people. It's much different. And then I had a client, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Chella was in this call, and I think Bruce was also, where she comes in. I didn't even know it, right? Haven't seen her in a few weeks. I knew she did a challenge, and she's like, hey, can I share a story with you, Chris? I'm like, absolutely. And I'll stop sharing this here. She shared a story where she's done a few challenges, and each time she got better and better, and she got them more refined, and she got results in each challenge. But the final result, the one she had to share with me, is, Chris, I had 100% conversion in my last challenge. Do you know what that means? Do you know what that really means? Her time was used the best it could be. Those people were there for a reason. Now, I don't do the free challenge thing. I don't, right? Don't do those things. I can tell you I shared every kind of statistic you can ever see, up, down, left, and right. And you will understand, unless you want to have an email list that nobody opens anyway, you're wasting your time with the free challenge. So every client I work with, we do a charge challenge, right? I charge $100 for my challenge. I get yelled at all the time. I'm like, that's great. This isn't for you. Like, I don't take that personally. I know what I teach. Suzanne's been in my challenge, right? So she knows what you learn in that challenge. $100 is actually a joke, right? And then I charge 300 VIP after that. People move through that all the time. I have other clients, $50 challenges with like a $200 VIP. I have one client, $500 to get in this challenge, $4,000 VIP. Now, that VIP involves flying out to spend a day with me. So there's your disclaimer on that one, okay? But these are the things, if you set all this up, the systems start to work. There's a lot behind what you need to understand psychology-wise on how to set up a challenge. But at the highest end, if you don't understand what a challenge is, it gives, if you haven't read this book, I'm going to share this with you. If you didn't, I highly recommend it, The Experience Economy, right? Think about Apple. Think about Starbucks, all those companies, Lego. How many of you got kids, right? Talk about that one, right? You go in there, you're having an experience with that company, and your credit card's coming out on the other end. For me, I'm a cyclist. If you get me on a bicycle that I'm looking to buy, and you let me go ride that thing on the trails I want to ride, there's a high likelihood that I'm going to become really vested in that bicycle and put a credit card across the finish line in the next month or two. That's what you want to create for your clients, those experiences. Like, yeah, people do retreats, people do in-person events. The beauty of a challenge is it's a simple 3 to 5 day process that you're teaching something in your zone of genius without giving away all the goodies. Because, right, here's the challenge most people have, and each and every one of you will have. You will have the challenge of, I know so much information, I'm going to fire hose everybody. That's not going to work. Michael will tell you, I take a very complex, because Michael does amazing things, take something very complex, and I say, we got to dummy this down so like literally an 8-year-old can understand it. And most people are like, you're nuts. And then they go implement it like, oh my gosh, that was right. Because you have to look at where a person's starting on their journey. So I'm an endurance cyclist. I do 100-mile mountain bike races. If somebody wanted to do a 100-mile mountain bike race, right? And they said, hey, take me there, I'm ready to go all in. You think I'm going to start them with, hey, let's go do a 50-mile ride right now. I'm going to start them with the most simple process and give them mini, tiny wins each time they go out. So they come back excited and wanting more. And the most important thing that they get is the confidence in themselves. See, nothing's ever going to go across a finish line when it comes to getting a client or anything until a person has confidence in themselves that don't implement it. And I've heard this time and time again. I was going to bring up another screen, but I won't bring it up. Time and time again from clients that have, ended up working with me. I'm like, what made you choose working with me? And like, besides the experience and everything, I got the confidence I can do this. I wanted to implement it for my business and I wanted to see the results. I hear that time and time and time again. So that's what you really, really want to do through a challenge, a little mini breakthrough each day, get them excited, get them moving forward, get them coming back the next day. Woo, we just did this, talk about it a little bit, move them up to the next step, move them up to the next step, move them up into the next step, right? So I'm going to take some questions in a second, but I'll give you an example of how I do one of my personal challenges. I use what they call a marketing pain point approach. And this is a goldmine tip. I'm going to tell you this right now. Most people would not tell you what I'm about to tell you. This took me almost 35 challenges personally doing until I nailed it on this one. It's a marketing pain point approach. I call it the champion approach. And what I do each day is I know the questions people ask me. First thing everybody asks me, Chris, will a challenge work for my business? So I teach them day one the benefits of challenges and what it can create for their business. And I give them a calculator to walk away with to see the impact they can make. 90% come back the next day psyched. The other 10% actually become clients on that day, believe it or not, if you do this correctly, okay? Day 2, all right, Chris, I'm all in, but you answered the first pain point, but what the heck do I teach in this challenge? I show them how to take their offer and break that out into a 3 to 5 day challenge. Solve pain point number 2. Pain point number 3, okay, how I run one of these things, Chris? What's some of the most important things to bring clients on board? That's what I teach them on day 3. Day 4, because mine technically is a 4-day challenge. Day 5 is bonus Q&A. Day 4, and this is only 35 minutes a day with open Q&A the rest of the time, 25 minutes. Day 4, well, what is it now? What's next? Well, hey, you got the roadmap. Let's revisit everything. Here's your framework. Let me show you what's next. I'm going to open the red carpet. It's never a sales process because it's so logical. Hey, he got me this far. Now, how do I do all these other things that are in my mind? All these other things. I want to do it next. So there's a lot behind what I said there, but I want to give you that tip because that's a gold mine tip that I see people do challenges all the time. And they're like, hey, I've done these things. They don't work. I've tried everything. And I've been coached by Brendan Bouchard in my lifetime. So Brendan Bouchard always said something. If any of you have ever been coached by him, okay, you tried everything. Show me the Excel spreadsheet with all the graphs that have every checkbox hit along the way that you hit. And then show me you did everything. Well, he's like, until you showed me like this, and this, you haven't tried everything. So when somebody comes to me and has done a challenge, I'm like, well, what have you done? Let's tweak this. Let's try a different approach. Let's go a little bit less than what you're doing, maybe a little bit more. And boom, we start to get results. So I want to take some questions, answer them. I could talk for a long time on this, but I think like 13, 14 minutes of just giving an overview is enough. I want to make this as interactive for you all. So Suzanne, if you want to take over, see if there's any questions, can absolutely.
Yeah, first, I just want to say, I think the hardest part of this for me and this is why I signed up for your challenge last time you did your challenge on challenges, was because I have a hard time under deliver. And I don't mean under delivering. I had a hard time scaling back what I was doing so that people weren't overwhelmed. I have a tendency to talk too much, overwhelm people, give too many because I move fast. I think everybody else does. And I think that's a common problem. And you really cured that for me in a very, very short time. Number 2, knowing that a challenge can work for you to attract people to your offer is really something to wrap your head around, and there's all different ways to deliver it. So I'd love, after we take some questions, for you to kind of dive into the different ways to deliver a challenge, whether it's live or in a group or, on Zoom or on a live, or maybe it's even, dare I say, an email challenge with people.
Got stories on that one, but we'll talk about it.
Okay. Michelle, you have a question.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Well, first I want to say, Chris, I just love it because I'm all about making people matter, and you got to nurture them. They all need nurtured in their own special way. My question is, if people can't attend live, do you provide a recording? And if so, what's the process there? They just watch the recording and they're good to go?
It's a great question. So here's what you're going to deal with. And this is anything. This is not challenges. This is anything you do. So people always use the excuse, like, I know people who do summits. Well, I can't attend that thing every day. Well, great. You get the recording, right? What's the most important part? So any challenge I do, especially since it's paid, that's part of why, hey, you get lifetime access to these recordings. And, I use a community page for that. I use Mighty Networks, load everything up in there. Very easily designed. I mean, Suzanne's been in there and she's been in others, and she saw it. She's like, wow, you got this designed, right? I'm like, yeah, because I've done enough of these challenges. I know what people need and don't need. So we keep it at that point. Mm-hmm. So I design it in Mighty Networks. They get access to that. And here's the beauty, Michelle. It's all about, the other part of a challenge is we're building a micro community, right? I talk about that 3 stuff. The community of buyers, repeatable systems, scalable, right? All that together. You get the community of buyers together, the micro community. Everybody has this myth of, I need hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. I limit my challenges to 30 people. And people are like, you're the challenge guy. Why are you doing that? Because I want to interact with each and every person like a human being in there. So we record them. We give them access to it. I will tell you, most people show up for mine live. I mean, they'll miss a day or two, but like they just, that experience I create, and it's what my clients create, being around others, getting that vibe, they actually pick up on that and they'll be there. I have people all the time who say, I'm going to miss Tuesday. It kills me that I'm not going to be there live. I'll be back Wednesday. So there's a lot behind how you create that environment, that energy, and things that you do before the challenge to make people really want to be there live. But yeah, record them if you need to.
How
Michael's
often?
gotten up at 1 a.m. just so you know. You can see that.
Well, how often do you do them?
So in my day when I was doing these all the time, I was doing one a month. And I was doing it for a 12-week LinkedIn accelerator, right? So I was just putting people into a LinkedIn program. I have a whole story how that started. And then I had a gentleman, CEO of a consulting firm, sit in there and said, hey, I'll put my whole sales team into your LinkedIn program. I want to do a 5-day challenge. I want you to run it and do everything for me. I was like, sure, I've never done these for anybody else. Let's do it. So once that moment happened, I ended up getting 12 other clients that year, worked with them one-on-one. So then I started to go into every 2 months to do a challenge. Now I do one a quarter because I have so many clients in launch mode. I like to be in their challenges. I like to make sure I can help them as much as I can. So I do one a quarter now, but I love having it as an event to always invite people to. And I have a whole nother way of guiding people to that challenge. And if I look at my personal history and clients that have been running with me enough now, when the systems are set up, Michelle, you'd be surprised how many people actually come into the challenge and they're like, I became a client last week. I became a client 2 weeks ago because I brought them through a nurture sequence. And to me, the challenge is the final execution to get the true experience of working with me.
Love that. Sajad, you have your hand up.
Hi, Chris.
What's up, man? You changed your name now.
Oh, somebody keeps doing that to me.
Oh, all right.
I would never do things like that. They're very offensive. Okay, what's the balance? What I teach my clients is operate with intention, but don't be concerned with the outcome. But that the purpose of a business meeting is to do business.
Right.
Because a lot of my clients are, before they hire me, they're really well-known people who are extremely well-liked. They have great brand goodwill.
Yep.
But they're not making shit. They're making like 30 or 50 grand a year, right?
Okay.
And then when I teach them to change the paradigm from relationship building alone to add massive value, sell without selling, close deals, then they end up making a lot of money. So what's the balance between relationship building, know, like, and trust, and actually making fucking money?
I mean, it's there. Like, you really have to decide what works for you, right? I mean, the thing is with the challenge, no doubt you're a servant first, right? So I say that straight up. If you're not willing to serve first, the model definitely doesn't work because that just sticks out. But the balance is, it's what you teach in that challenge, how you do it. So most people know for my challenges, like they're coming in, there's going to be an offer. They know I'm going to make the offer. Half of them already seen the offer or purchased it before they come into my challenge because I set up a process leading into the challenge. So I have ways of doing that. So when they come in my challenge, there's a reason why some people don't show up on day 2 or day 3. People think, oh, they're out. I'm like, no, they saw what they needed to see. They already joined the program. So I like to set up the structures to let people know, hey, you're going to get an offer. It's going to look something like this. If you want to see it now, I'll show it to you. If not, if you need to see, and most people, this is before the challenge, will look at my offer before the challenge. That takes some time to set up though, man. It's not hard, but I'm all about business, right? I'm all about impact. I got kids I got to feed. There's all those real things in life, kids to put through college. So I'm not a charity, even though I serve, I'm definitely not a charity. So I let people know. The other thing is charge for the damn thing. People miss this. So I think I sent Suzanne some of these screenshots. I was doing a challenge over the summer and man, I got so many people. I only attend free events. Great. This isn't for you. I know, like, I want to weed those people out. And I say this very lightly, very lightly. Most people like that are seminar sitters. And what I teach, you implement it, it changes lives. It changes your clients' lives, your lives. If you implement this framework, it works. I don't want a seminar sitter. I don't. So I got to get them out of my world real fast. I know that sounds arrogant, but that's how you repel people. That little bit. To me, I find $100 is that number, man. Like that $100 gets a person to sit there like, no. But here's the beauty. When you do it as 100, the $300 uptick to VIP, if you got a good value on it, is a cakewalk. Because people are like, what's another $300? I get a one-on-one with it, right? So I hope that helped.
I love everything you've said so far, Chris. I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
The people that I see that I work with that fail in the close. So they're people pleasers. So there's 3 parts to it. They want everybody to like them. They never want to make anybody uncomfortable. I'm really afraid that people won't like me as well, but I'm getting over it. They want everybody to like them. They they never want to make anybody. Sorry, that's too funny. They
Listen,
I get it, man.
that's
I
your
get it.
challenge. That's the challenge you sell
is,
to
dude.
John is
Listen.
how to get over caring if people like you or not. And I mean, there's almost everybody in this room would be like, huh, wow, to learn that from Sajad, wouldn't that be incredible? Because everyone knows you repel those who are offended by you, and you don't care if people like you or not.
But that's leadership too, right? You made a
Yeah,
decision of
it
what
is.
group you stand for, right? You have a
Yeah.
group you stand for. So you can't bring somebody that doesn't stand to the values you have. So you're unique, right? So it comes down to this too. The other part, right? To bring a new client on, this is another writer downer if you want, guys. I got all sorts I bust out. Besides other things I shared, there's 3 yeses that come along in the process, right? The first is a yes to you, right? Anybody that's going to buy after they get the confidence, first is the yes to you. Then your unique way of doing things. So you're doing something unique from what I'm hearing, right? Boom, this is how I do it, take it or leave it, right? So that's unique. And then the final thing is the yes to your program, right? Those are the 3 yeses a person has to take after they get the confidence. So if you don't want those people who just aren't into, hey, I'm going to push you to get this done, that's how you set your challenge. Like I have clients that have challenges that literally say, let me start this off. If this is you, stop now. If it's not you, keep on reading, right? And like we look at the stats on their pages and they're like, gosh, it took 30 people to get one across the finish line. I'm like, but that one is the one, man. That's what you want, right? So that, you set things up so it's set up that way.
I loved all that and I didn't finish my thought, but that's okay because I loved all your thoughts. So people pleasers, it's my fault for talking shit and laughing at myself. People pleasers have 3 problems that I see. They want everybody to like them. They never want to make anybody uncomfortable, and they don't want to get rejected. So they never offer to sell anything. So if you never offer,
that was me forever.
If you never offer to sell anything, nobody will ever say no. The flip side of that coin is you'll never make any fucking money. So what do you do with people that go through your systems? Because at the end of your system, there's going to be selling. No matter whose system you follow, Donnie Boyven or whoever the hell else. There's going to be selling, and you can't be a weak, lacking confident, lame. So no matter what system you follow, it always gets to that point of the close.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I have multiple ways I go about it. One thing I always tell people, here's three writer downers. You need to be really damn good at this. People miss this, being able to communicate all 3 of these in your offer cycle. ROI, return on investment. COI, this is a big one that everybody, I mean, this one, you get this dialed, cost of inaction, right? I get, like, I scared the living daylights out of people with that one because I can talk story after story after story of challenges I've done and people I've seen out there that get bankruptcy, don't get clients, or back in a job that they never wanted to go through. Like I do it all. I just scare them, right? In a good way, but I scare them. And then the other one is the reality versus perception. Here's the reality you are now. Here's the perception. How do I get you there? That you really, really have to get really dialed in your offer strategy. Now, the beauty of all what I just said, why I love a 5-day challenge, or like I said, mine's 4, some of my clients are 3, is you can work that into everything you do each and every day, right? So if you watch some of these, like let's take Alex Hormozy, for example. Alex uses very key words if you really watch him. Okay, if you listen to him, if you're like most of my clients, go listen to him, some of his stuff. How many times you hear that? Or if you're like this person, why does he do that? Because after you heard that about 20 times in a short window of time, and then he goes into the ROI, the COI, and all that, your head's so ingrained. Oh my gosh, he's right. He's right. Where's my credit card going? So you have to, here's the thing, you have to get good at how you present your offer. There's no doubt about that. There's no tricks in this game. I don't play all the games that you see all these marketers play. You know, like when, hey, if you don't buy this now, you don't get this, you don't get this. And then you go to checkout. Oh, you said no to that. I'll give it to you at half price. Oh, you said no to that. Well, I was really going to charge you 10 grand for. Now it's only, I don't play those games. It's straight up. This is my offer. This is what it looks like. Nothing's going to change. If you don't take action by this time, I promise you it'll be this price point with none of this in it on this date. And people are like, nah. They come back to me a month later. Hey, I want that offer. I'm like, yeah, here's the link. It's $4 grand more and it doesn't have this, and this. It's like, I told you it was limited offer. So You got to hold firm on that stuff on how you make the offer. But there's no trickery, none of that. I populate it each day so a person knows what's coming, so it never feels salesy. Listen, I have a sales background. I have no fear in making an offer to a person because I know I can help and change a life. I don't take rejection personally. I take it as feedback. So if I made Judy an offer, right, and she went through my challenge, and Judy's kind of like, no. I usually, like most of the people in my challenge will tell you, Chris understands why they said no for 2 reasons. One, I could find out that maybe, just maybe, there's a lot going on in Judy's life right now, something serious that she cannot commit the time or the finances to, but Judy could come back to me in 3 to 4 months or 6 months. I want to know that, right? Keep relationship with Judy, okay? The other thing is, sometimes people would be like, yo, you're a complete knucklehead. I don't like you, blah, 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 blah. I've heard that a few times. I'm like, okay, that's good to know too. Because I probably should have repelled you a little bit earlier in the process. So I don't take that rejection personally. I do go look to everybody that says no to get answers. And I'd say out of every challenge, I get about 80% feedback on those that didn't take action. And I get good feedback. And a lot of them, I mean, Chella's been around me for a while. She laughs sometimes. New people coming to our community. Yeah, I was in Chris's challenge 2 years ago. It's time, right? It's because I nurtured them the whole time. I know that sounds crazy, that nurture part, but it is part of the journey.
Yeah. Chella, question?
Well, it's a comment is when you sign up for Chris's challenge, he'll have a 20-minute conversation with you. I cannot tell you how many times he has discouraged people from taking the challenge because it's not for them. Right. So he's not going to put people right. They're not. I mean, but they really appreciate it. And because he does that, he has gotten so many referrals because people appreciate the fact that, the timing is wrong. This is not the right thing for that person at this time. And so to me, that really goes to what Chris has to offer and how he is not going to sell you something unless he knows that it will work for you. You still have to work for it. But I really do appreciate that part about Chris and some of the people that have been in his challenge. And I've been part of Chris's community now for 2 years.
Yeah. And I will say that nurture piece is so important. Before I took part in Chris's challenge and I got so many good things to implement, I had probably run 10, 12 challenges before in my Facebook group, in other Facebook groups when I was a health coach. And the thing that I took away that was so powerful, at least for me, was that when it's structured properly, when you give just the right amount of knowledge, value, massive things to write down and action steps for people to take, and you make it easy for them to take that action, you don't have to sell as much at the end. People were asking how they work with, well, what's next? What do I do? What's the thing? And at least for me, let's see a show of hands. How much better is it when somebody says, David, how do I work with you? Jason, what's your package? How much is it? Just don't tell me all the features. How much is it? And when can I start? Like, that's the gold of giving someone an experience. So I'd love to hear for some more voices in the room, whether it's a question, feedback. We have about 10 minutes left with Chris. So who has a question or just something they want to talk about in regards to this? Love to hear from
like somebody raises their hand or something. I'll address one thing you asked earlier, different formats. So if you have a question, just raise your hand. I see it. I'll call you out on this.
Yeah.
Okay. I get clients all the time. Man, I built this great Facebook group. I'm going to do it all on Facebook, blah, 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 blah. They go do this amazing challenge on Facebook. Nobody attends. They get nothing out of it. And they're like, hey, I got this content. That's not a challenge to me. Okay. And I know you've probably been on all these big wigs challenges that do it that way. A little different for them because they got a lot of money to put behind these things, right? I am all about bringing people into an experience, an environment. See, when you have people live, and this is where you got to get that mentality out of your head. I need 100 people. I need 50. We do amazing results with, I kid you not, challenges with 7 to 10 people. Like literally my clients crush those challenges. I personally cut all mine off at 30. I do, because I need to give everybody what I want to serve them. People will tell you on my challenge. I'm DMing them during the challenge. Hey, you got everything, you need everything, sending them all these things. They're like, man, this guy's playing no games. That week of that challenge, I'm all in. So Facebook groups, I'm not big on them. I had a client who just came to me who did one in a group. And he's like, I heard you say that about 4 times. I never listened to you. I now realize why that method doesn't work. Emails. I have 2 women who came to me who are doing 30-day email challenges. And I was like, can we look at your stats? One woman's like, what stats? I'm like, well, don't you track this? No, I send the email. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, that's like not knowing how many meetings you need to have a month to hit your revenue numbers, right? That's like that same kind of scenario, not knowing your stats. So she had no stats. The other woman's like, yeah, I got like 250 people on this challenge, and I got less than 0.01% opening an occasional email. So unless you bought somebody through a 5-day experience with you, and then that's part of your offer, I wouldn't do an email challenge. I just don't see them working. I signed up for 3 email challenges because I sign up for challenges all the time to see what other people are doing. I signed up for 3 in the last month. I have not read one thing, because it's not something I need to be a part of. So to me, the most beneficial thing you can do is get people into your world and have an experience. And here's another tip. This is another gold tip that I share. The whole thing with virtual events is a whole different topic. But if you want to have, if you do all the things right, you design the challenge, you have everything set up, your challenge needs to look like this from a breakout standpoint. I call it the 33, 33, 33. The other 0.1% forget. 33% have to be a cold audience. They have no clue who you are. 33% need to be a warm audience, clients, referrals, people that know, like, and trust you. 33% need to be people off of social media. And then you're probably like, well, Chris, why wouldn't they be the cold audience? Because people already know you on social media. They're watching. They kind of already know who you are from that thing. So I'm going to promise you, if you can start getting virtual events that are dialed at that level, you will watch some amazing things happen. And why is that? You have the dynamic of the people who know, like, and trust you advocating for you. You have the dynamic of the people on social media who are watching you. Yeah, like, yep, he's talked about this. Yeah, okay. And then you have that cold audience like, well, oh, hell, I'm in this, man. Like, I don't know this guy for anything now, but now I'm getting to like him. So people miss that. When people don't have high converting events, I start to say, hey, what's the mix in the event? What do you mean, what's the mix? So just because you all showed up tonight, there's another piece of gold for you.
Yeah, well, let's do the mix right now, right? So this room, raise your hand or give a wave if you're a client or a really close connection of mine. Okay. Now hands down. Now of Chris, you know Chris, or you're a close connection or a client of his. That's me, right? Now, total stranger, invited by somebody else, never met me before. Yeah.
That's perfect. Yep.
See? So that mix is key, because at any given time, Chris could hear from one of his advocates, those super fans, as Pat Flynn says, right? If you don't know who Pat Flynn is, listen to his podcast.
Best challenges, by the way.
Yeah, great challenges. Sorry, Chris. And you know, when you have that mix, I love that you said that, because those advocates for you, and it happened to me in such a rock star way today. I finished my workday at 4:00. I get a text message from Daniel Andrews, who you might know. He's part of my inner circle. So Daniel texts me. I'm in the kitchen making a cup of coffee, and he texts me, "What are you doing right now?" I said, "Just finished my day." He's like, I'm emailing you a Zoom room. Pop in." And I was like, "What is it?" And he said, "I'm at this event, and 3 people have mentioned your name. 3 different people said, you need to talk to her. Oh, you need to meet her. Just pop in. Do it because I asked you." Sure. I pop in. I end up with 3 people on my calendar, because 3 people in the room knew who I was. Daniel asked me to show up, and I did it. I didn't know what I was walking into, totally blind. I borrowed Daniel's trust, and I showed up. And that mix of people in the event builds your authority, and it's really genius. All right, Jeff, question, hand raised.
And
Go ahead,
I'll
Chris.
add
I'm
one
sorry.
thing. I'm just going to add one thing, then I'll take the questions.
Yeah.
Right now, I just got 2 alerts. I saw my phone light up, and there's an event in Dallas now, and I have a woman that's an advocate of mine. I'm doing a challenge in a couple of weeks, and I just happened to see the alert. So-and-so just referred so-and-so to your challenge. So like, that's exactly what happens when you build that trust that you want. So
yeah.
Who's going to ask questions? Is it Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah, first off, I was there at that event, Suzanne, and that was so cool to witness, where it was like Daniel's sitting there, he's like, "Hey, give me 1 second." She's like, "She's on the way." And then you popped in, and it was great, right? So yeah, like having that connection and that ability to reach out to each other and be like, "Hey, we're talking about you in this room. This is a space you definitely want to be in." And when people are talking about you behind your back in the best way possible, you want to take advantage of that. So
yeah,
it was really cool to witness.
Thank you. Thank you. It was cool.
The question I have for Chris is around kind of the middle ground, or like the best price point to really weed out people. How do you gauge that depending on the offering? What's kind of your sweet spot, or what's the way that you've kind of honed in on that?
So the offering doesn't really matter, in my opinion, if you structure everything correctly and you have the right people in there. Most people are like, what's the best number to start? I'm like, well, if you don't have confidence in what you do, how you do it, and all that, I don't say that like to be rude. Then go with a $3,500 offer, right? So I have people convert 3,500 like that. That's nothing. But I'm like, you're not doing it right, because you bring value to this world. So my challenge is, the lowest end offer is 7K, and it goes up to 20K, depending on what I position personally. Michael has a 15K out of his challenge. Technically, I have others that, tend to be a 10K sweet spot, right around there. The consulting firm I mentioned, that guy's offer was a $100,000 offer. He had CEOs in his challenge. So it just really depends on what you're doing, Jeff, and designing the challenge around that to attract those right people. So what's your offer look like that you have from a high level perspective?
I have one package that is 4,000, and then another one that's 15,000.
Okay. So we would look at those packages, right? I would scoop what's the value of them, what are you doing, and break that into a challenge. I mean, the way you can you only make one offer out of a challenge. Okay, the more friction you can put in an offer process, the less results you're going to see. So it's one offer. It's one offer. Now, if you structure simple systems on the back end, you can have all sorts of upticks on the offer. So, I mean, depending on what it's like, you decide who you want to attract, how you design that challenge to attract those individuals, and then what the price point is for entry, right? This is why, to me, $100 is a bare minimum number. I'm doing a challenge with a client next week. Believe it or not, they're going after corporate HR leaders. Everybody told me you're nuts. You're never going to get any of those people in the challenge. Oh, okay, good. Thanks for that one. We'll go get it done. They have 25 people registered that are their target market next week, and they did $75 to get those people in, right? But their offer on the back end, I mean, I know this sounds crazy. It's only $1,000 consult fee, because that consult fee can lead into a multi-million-dollar contract. So I was like, you can't just make $1 million offer out of a 10-day challenge, right? You got to understand what these people really need. So you can do stuff like that too. You could do simple offers. Hey, I'm going to put you in this little cohort for a month. We're going to do this, this, this. Get to know somebody, and that might be a real low number, 2,500. But then all of a sudden, here's the 25K program. Here's the 50K program. Here's the other one. Suzanne, who introduced me to a great guy. You need funding and systems. That's another thing, right? If you start positioning your offer, hey, it's 20 grand, but we can pay weekly, right? People, weekly, monthly.
Yeah.
Get funding for those offers.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
I
all
will
how you
say,
structure this, man.
I did a challenge one time that was 30 days, and it was $997 to do that. But it was with me every day for 30 days to craft a high ticket offer. And now, granted, that group was small. Every single one of those people who signed up for that 30-day hands-on offer, I didn't really consider it a challenge. It was more of a short-term coaching accelerator, but still, same principle. Those people all enrolled to work with me to create their actual offer. So I think it all depends what your end result is. If you want one-on-one clients, it's something different. If you want to enroll in a group, something different. All right,
Yeah.
Michelle, we'll take a couple more questions.
Before I take Michelle's question, I'll just let you all know, 2 weeks. I'm doing my final challenge of the year. You knew this was coming, right? But I kind of put a little gift here. Some of you are asking questions. Everything you need is on this page. For showing up tonight, $25 off. So it'll be $75. And here's a surprise bonus. I give in my VIP session, besides being able to get into challenge 30 minutes early, so you get a lot of behind the scenes on that 30 minutes each day. You get a bonus group Q&A where I go over a bunch of other stuff. You also get a 60-minute one-on-one with me on VIP. So if you decide to take advantage of this offer, you get $25 off. You upgrade to VIP for $300. I will return the $75 that you started with. So just remind me if you happen to land on this and you take it. Hey, Chris, you promised me to refund the general admission. Decide if you want. We give out a $10,000 prize. That means we design your challenge funnel and you get one-on-one with me to ensure that challenge goes off live. So I wanted to make sure y'all knew about that. I'll stay to answer questions for a while from here, but I want to make sure everybody knew about that.
Yes, yes. And please, you got it in the chat, Chris?
Yeah, I put it in the chat, so you can save the chat.
Awesome. And that'll go out to everybody who emailed and registered for tonight. Michelle.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Well, this piggybacks on what you just said, because I was going to ask you, I can't attend any of it at the end of the month. So do you recommend me doing it now or waiting until next time? I have a live event that I'm putting on here in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
So that's why I can't be there.
I mean, I would recommend grabbing it now, because I'm going to tweak things up differently next year, and I don't know when my next one will be, just due to demand from clients. So this may be my last one for a while, and I have a couple different challenge ideas next year I actually want to implement. So you do it, you get access to all the recordings, everything you need, Michelle.
All right, fantastic. I'm in. And I just want to thank Susan for having such an amazing community.
Yeah.
And for the new people that are on here, please reach out to her and find out how you can be part of this all the time, because it's magical. And of course, I have to throw a little hey out there to Sajad, who's awesome, and his program is kick-ass.
Awesome. And Martin, I just saw your message. Look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
Nice.
All right, my girlfriend is 24. What do you got for me now?
Can you please not put my personal business out there like that? Thank you.
I don't know if I like this guy.
Listen,
yeah, I've heard what you said about me. We were supposed to be friends, but then you got that stupid DM and you thought it was me. I fired that chick. I didn't.
Yeah, I know. I saw your message, man. Did you get kicked off LinkedIn after that, or because LinkedIn's doing some crazy stuff?
I'm on my 4th lifetime ban. It happens once a year where I get banned from LinkedIn.
Yeah, a lot of people are dealing with that right now. But go ahead.
I'm TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube famous now.
Yeah, don't use LinkedIn automations, no matter what they tell you.
Oh, don't.
No matter what they tell you. Oh, this one's safe. Oh, this one's this.
Then I'll share this. So I have a client next week doing a challenge, right? We set up an event. We have 150 people to go through. So I'm not spamming anybody. I'm just making sure they're registered, even though they get emails and all that great stuff. I have a premium account. Chris gets an alert, and I'm not like, I'm doing 5 messages coming back. You have set the same message too many times. I'm like, these freaking people are in my event. How am I supposed to get them in my event?
Were you cutting and pasting the message?
No, I use a type form desk. So I just put a code in and
oh, that's why. That's why. Because I cut and paste.
That you can't do that in your own event now.
You can cut and paste, but you better go slow, because Miss Thing is a little too fast with the cut and paste. And I did like 25 of them in a row, and a little thing pops up like, you've messaged too many people today. Goodbye. RJ.
I never even got to my damn question, Suzanne.
Oh, man, I thought you were done.
Oh. The fuck, man? Is it because I'm too laid back and easygoing?
Listen, I don't think you're asking questions fast enough. Like, gotta pick up the pace a little bit.
I can go text my 24.
RJ is going now. Her hand was up. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say I so vibe with what you're doing here and love it. The other thing is, I too do the thing where I see people sign up for my events and I welcome them, and I'm doing a whole bunch at once. But I don't have one message that I send over and over. I have about 3 that I switch between, and I totally use I use Type Desk.
Yeah,
but
that works like a charm.
Yeah, it works like a charm. I've never been bitten on that because I have 2 or 3. But yeah, you do the same one and they want to kick you. Yeah.
I mean, the benefit is, I got yelled at today. 13 more people registered for their challenge. So you know what? I don't care if I get banned off LinkedIn for the next 5 days because I'm trying to get them the people in their challenge. It actually will impact me more for my challenge because then I can't do what I need to do, right? So there's that part of things.
Well, it's crazy that the LinkedIn automations who have limits set to them just don't do it. Don't even bother, just do it yourself.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to talk about tonight, and we didn't get to it, was, the actual structure of a challenge, how much information to give away, how much to hold back. And that was really the learning curve for me, is making it stupid simple. I have this vision of RJ doing a 5-day challenge about how, having a robot for your business could, having a little ninja for your business could make a difference. And, just from thinking about her and what she does, I saw how it would work for me. And so she could inspire a whole room full of people into that individuality thing. And that's really all she would have to do. She wouldn't have to give much information. It would really just be the visioning process of it.
The experience is so much more important than the information. People
Yeah.
forget information all the time.
I
They
know.
forget it. But
you basically kind of teach what they need to know, sort of, right? But at the end of the day, you only show them what you need to deliver on the other side. They're gonna, you just need to let them know that you're gonna take them to the next level out of this thing. Yeah. So the hardest thing everybody deals with. So I'll take Suzanne, Bobby Umar?
No.
Okay, so Bobby Umar, thought leader, well-known TEDx speaker on LinkedIn. I did a challenge, Larry, so Larry Cole. So I did a challenge with him and Larry years ago when I was first starting this journey, and Bobby did some before. So Bobby and I get together and I'm like, what were you doing your challenge around? And he's like, I'm like, dude, that's insane. You taught that in 5 days? That's like a program right there. So I said, let's dummy this bad boy down to this, this, and this. We get done with the challenge. And he's like, I've never seen checkouts get hit that fast. I'm like, because you didn't scare them. And you can't go still scare them now. I just signed up, but at least now what you were teaching, you can go deeper on.
Yeah.
So he went high level. So he actually just approached me the other day and said, hey, he's going to do a how to get on stage for TEDx challenge, something along that line in the new year we're working on now. But because he's like, I thought of doing this on my own again. And then I'm like, I remember when Chris and the day the stripe alerts went off. Nope, Chris, need help. So it's just because I can see what somebody has that's so complex and they're like, take that bad boy, put it here. And then they look at me, you're nuts, it's too easy. I'm like, trust me. And then at the end, they're like, you were right. Because it's just because I'm one of those people, and it's because of my corporate background. I'm selling very complex softwares, and I used to sell at the C-level. I knew I had to get in that room, and I had 2 minutes to grab attention. And if I couldn't do that in 2 minutes, we were done. So I was really good at getting to the top benefits of what it's going to be and teaching them real fast. And now I just do it when I'm doing with this all the time. Jeff, nice meeting you.
Yeah, see you, Jeff.
Thank you both. Thanks, Chris. Bye, Suzanne.
Well, I will say my next challenge is a 3-day. And the VIP option is day 4, where you actually get into the Zoom room with me. Doing a little hybrid type thing so that it'll be live in my Facebook group, but you have to sign up to get the worksheets, the workbook, and the replays. And my whole entire before I met you, my 5-day challenge was probably a 3-month coaching program. My 5-day challenge, 3-month in a 3-month coaching program in 5 days. It was way too much, very overwhelming. And my conversion rate on that, running that challenge 3 or 4 times, I'm a numbers person. Conversion rate, no matter what number of people I had, whether I had 10, 30, or 60, the conversion rate was still the same. 2%, 3%. Yeah. Well, when I pulled back and started delivering less, 50%.
Yep.
75%. So this challenge, it's actually going to be official. Landing page, upsell, follow-up nurture sequence after the challenge to continue on the journey, right? So many things I learned. But the most impactful is that everything you think you need to deliver to sign a client, to get a client, pull back by 50 to 75% of that.
Probably 80%.
80%? All right. 80%, and deliver less. Charlotte just recorded a video for her opt-in page, which was so well done, so professional. But it was almost like a course in communication for your business. And I was like, wow, how does she deliver? She doesn't tell you how to do it, but she gives you this overhead view of communication in your business. And, you know, I think it's really well done. And there was a magic to it of enough information that I know I need it for my business, but I don't know how to do it.
Yep.
And that's the same with challenges.
I have a whole thing that I put together. It's I'm going to redo it. When first time I recorded it, it was 20 minutes. And I was like, I could get that out of me probably at 15. So I'm going to re-record it to do that. But it's a 15-minute intro because I'm just not big on one-on-one sales calls, if that's not apparent, because it's just a time thing. All those other things involved. So I actually have a DM process that I implemented that's working like a charm. And I send the person, it was the 20 minutes, it's going to go to the 15. Okay, this is what you're asking for. This is what I know I can deliver. If you want to watch this 15-minute video, you can decide if you want to know what's next. And I'm getting people left, right, up, and down. I'll watch it.
Love it.
Now, right now, all I'm using it for is, hey, instead of signing up to the program I'm launching, which you can, why don't you come into my upcoming challenge? And then people are signing up for my challenge that way. I never have to talk to them because they're like, easy entry point. But I've had a few who signed up for the challenge and they were like, well, what does your program look like anyway? Because like, I'm interested in what you do and I might as well just do this now. So it's other things you got to set up on the front end of things to get the whole system to work. And like some of the people I know that teach challenges, they just teach the challenge component, which I'm not saying they do a bad job, but they miss so much of what's in the front of it to make the challenge be successful. Where people can walk out of here, holy cow, 70%, 60%, 50% versus I did a challenge, I had 4%. Well, because you didn't do all these other things and you probably overwhelmed. And when you overwhelm people, you will not get them back. I promise you that. I promise you. And I'm guilty as charged. My first couple of challenges for LinkedIn, I still have people, man, you gave me stuff I'm still implementing. I'm like, I did something 4 years ago. Oh my gosh. So guilty as charged, right?
Yeah.
Because we're coaches. We want to help people. We want to give so much. So you have to get to that point where you give tons of value and that's it. And keep everything over here that they don't need to know that gives them more value when they come on. They're like, oh, you didn't talk about all that. Of course not.
Yeah. I pulled out my credit card the fastest. And this was really interesting for me, who's slow to buy. I tend to be because I've been around this a long time. And I was in I got invited to this 90-minute workshop and it was all on group facilitation, which I was curious about. I want to learn more, how to encourage group participation, group vulnerability, how to run breakout rooms and have it be more effective. And I signed up for this 90-minute training, something again from Daniel Andrews, crazy, his effect on me. So I go to this. And from that 90-minute training, they enrolled me into a 3-day event. It was a challenge. It was a 3-day thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they'll call it different things. Yeah.
Yeah. And on minute 1, he brings out a diagram of their whole entire company, whole process of this group facilitation. And it's a Venn diagram, 3 circles with all these little blank spots. And he goes into one of the circles. And that's everything we were going to cover today in this 90-minute. We're going to cover this, this, and this. And I was like, but wait, what about all the other blanks on the paper?
So I'm going to show you something right
I had already bought by then because I wanted the other blanks filled in on that piece of paper.
So here's how you start a process like that. So this is just bonus stuff, y'all. I show this slide, right? This is when somebody needs the slide deck, because I don't like using decks, just not my style. Okay, you need the slide deck. I'm like, let me talk through this, right? And I actually have, not on this deck I have open, but I can hit community of buyers, and it just opens up this to scare the living beavers out of them, like on what it really takes. This, and I open that up, and people are like, so you're going to make that easy, right? Oh yeah, I have this really easy, but this is what I had to learn to get this easy. And they're like, yeah, I don't need to see the rest of the stuff. Let's talk about how this is all going to flow. So same kind of concept, but I like what they did, because they're letting you know you're going to go
There's
through
more.
this.
Yeah.
And yeah, you think you're going to know I can go hack this on my own. And it's like, no, you can't. Like, you're going to get what you think you need to know, which is good. They're going to give you a lot, but you want what's under the hoods. You want to get this dialed in.
Yeah. Yeah. Jason, any
Nice to
feedback?
see you. I know you and I have been getting to know each other since we connected pretty recently. I mean, we've been on LinkedIn for a while, but it wasn't until I started showing up at events and CLA and all that. So I knew you were on before. I wasn't going to shout out in front of everybody there.
I'm shy. I get embarrassed easily. Scary.
Not.
Yeah, I love this. I love this last point a lot. That open loop example that both of you just expanded on. That's what I was furiously taking notes on. Like, oh, that's juicy. And I think there's the balance though too. Even like Chris, what you shared. What I find hard with that balance is, yes, don't present all the stuff, right? Because they don't want to know, you know. But even in that, like, hey, that there is all this other stuff. There's probably a balance there too, of like, oh shit, that's gonna be really hard, you know. Like, how do you find that little
You'll
sweet
get
spot?
to it. I mean, see, I've learned my two biggest objections that clients give me. The first is, holy crap, the tech mumbo jumbo. I want nothing to do. Oh, great. I give this as a bonus in my programs. We can do that all for you. I got a partner, blah, 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 blah. They build the pay, they do all the tech. Really? Uh-huh. That's out of my hand. Okay, I'm sold. Like, and then the other thing is, you know, I can't make all your community events every week. Great. You'll sign up now. I only can give out so much one-on-one time. This is what you get. I'm in, Chris, right? So I'll give you an example. You'll see me do a LinkedIn Live next week with 3 nurses that do this whole EHR audit thing. Really cool. I never knew this stuff existed. They got a really unique program. And they're so time strapped. That was what you do, the tech. Oh, I got you covered. Okay. And then they're like, well, we can't meet all the time you do. So like today, we finally finished everything. They're announcing their challenge tomorrow. And they said to me at the end, they're like, you know, we went through your challenge. Everything was great. And I knew I was going to buy from you and go forward, but like, we're very grateful we did. Here it is 2 months later from that moment. And they're like, the reason it went a little slower is on us, Chris, not you, because we were so busy, we couldn't get together. But you showed up and did everything you needed to. And you told us it would take 3 meetings to have us functioning. And here we are on the 3rd meeting and we're functioning, right? And I was like, yeah, I could have did that in 2 weeks if you could have, but I knew they couldn't. So you have to show people this stuff. Too many people have gone through my challenges, and I've stuff, I can figure this out. I go watch them launch, and I'm like, I should have scared the crap out of them before they made that decision. I know that sounds horrible, but if they don't know what they don't know behind the scenes, when they know that can be solved faster, I know they can go launch and change those lives faster. So I'm a fool in the past for not actually exposing some of the things Suzanne just talked about. So now I do a little bit. Hey, if you're going to go figure this out on your own, be prepared. This is where you got to go. And I don't go into everything, but they see all these buttons. Then you got to go over here. You got over here. But here's the good thing. If you have this so dialed, you don't even have to think about that stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
Especially what you're doing, man, with podcasting and all that. Like, I've tried to launch a podcast 19 times in my head, and I'm like, no. Like, just because I'm like, forget all that. And like, I'm doing LinkedIn Lives all the time. So like, people are like, you already have the content. You just got to make it work. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Oh, so that means you and Jason need to have a conversation.
I know, we do.
What happened with me, right?
There you go.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun roller coaster, and it may be for you too, like with challenges. But you know, people go through the first with podcasts. It's like, oh yeah, just pick up my phone and I'll just make a podcast, right? Or I'll just sit here and do this. It's the same thing as like, you know. And then they start going through it, and it's like, oh, I got to do that, and I got to do that, and I got to do that, I got to. And then it just like unfolds into everything, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm not going to do a podcast. And then we kind of, if they work with me, we bring them back up, and like, oh, okay, maybe I can do this after all.
See, that's where the communicating the cost of inaction becomes so critical. So I work with a few mindset coaches, and like they're like supposed to be so good with all this mindset stuff to get people to make decisions. I'm like, man, people aren't buying. I'm like, you gotta let them know what this is going to cost them for not taking. How many clients have you seen not take action, and where are they at right now? So they go write all these things out, like, oh my gosh. I'm like, you start talking about that nonstop. You got to start talking about that kind of stuff nonstop. Because I know for me as an athlete, mindset was the key thing that changed my life. I had a coach when it came to cycling, and all the things that went through my head. I was a good cyclist, but man, I wasn't worthy on that bicycle. Why should I be riding with these guys? It took a coach to work up. He was like, fitness, I don't care about all that fitness stuff. We'll get to that. We got to fix what's up in that head first, right? So like for me, any mindset person I work with, I'm like, I could tell you, if people fix their dang mind first, everything else that they need is easier to fix. When the mind's a mess, nothing else freaking works. So like, I know you have to really get that out of a person to show them that cost of inaction. Well, what happens when these thoughts start hitting you and your business isn't growing because you don't think you're worthy of this? You can't get here. So you have to really work hardcore on that and point that out. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Many of things there, man, from a branding message, from exposure, from authority. And like you and I can go on this forever, but like people don't realize in your world, here's how people screw up podcasts, in my opinion, because I've watched too many people do this. It is so easy to go out to your target market and say, hey, I have a podcast. I want to interview you for this. Boom, I do the interview. Guess what? You just got in front of their entire audience, because you know their audience is your audience, right? So why you get to leverage that. Then when you want to tell them what you do, it's a lot easier. Oh yeah, Chris just put me on his podcast, right? I'll have a conversation with Chris now because now he did something for me. And people miss this, because I know people doing podcasts. What's the purpose? It just gets my message out. I'm like, do you ever see revenue out of that thing? You need to talk about that, but I'll send them your way now, Jason, because that's not my conversation.
Well, my biggest client to date, business owner, had 4 businesses and a TV show. And he interviewed me on the TV show. It's one of those local internet TV shows. And it was a studio. I drive there, I go on the show, and after the show, we're having a cup of coffee and we're chatting. And I said, so this show, does it bring you business for this company over here that you have with your partners? And his head spun around so fast. He was like, what? What are you saying? I said, this TV show where you pick your guests and you interview them. Are you picking ideal clients and identifying their pain points through the conversation? And then they're your ideal clients for your company over here. And he was like, WTF are you talking about? And I said, that's what I do. Yeah. You want to go to lunch next week? And he was like, yeah. So at lunch, 3-hour lunch, he takes 4 pages of notes. I fully gave everything. And at the end, he looks at the papers and he's like, the top of my head is open and it's bleeding. Like, I can't absorb anymore. And I know my team and I cannot implement the things you talked about. And I said, okay. He goes, well, tell me, how do I work with you? And I said, wow, let's slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because all of those things on the paper need to be done before I can help you make more money. And he was like, how? Well, you got to hire this person and then this person and then this person, and you have to do this. And again, he's like, I can't do that without this input from you. Oh, so you're saying you would like me to manage the whole project and get you up and running and coach your team through this process? Yes. Awesome. And it's been almost a 2-year engagement. And I asked him for a video testimonial the other day. And you know what he said? No, I'm not doing that. And I said, why? He said, I'm not telling my competition who I worked with.
That's funny how people do that.
All right.
That happens all the time too.
Yeah, it does.
I helped a couple well-known names through challenges. I'm like, hey, can you just give me a video testimony so I have it? Can you give me a LinkedIn recommend? Nope. I'm like, hey, you got paid. You did everything you like. I'll talk to a person on the side if you really need me to get another influencer. But I'm not gonna. I'm like, damn, because like it's that moment, like just to have it. But you know, at the same time, I'm not one of those people that drop the names. So it's just like, whatever. Like I don't like if there's somebody, because some people will say you did a challenge for so and so. Yeah, I was on that challenge. That was really well. So I'm like, good, spread the word so people know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Drew, what did you think of tonight?
A lot for me to unpack. As most of you know. Oh, Jay, did you get something in the mail, by the way, Mr. Croft? Jason the Great?
Not yet, but I haven't been at the house checking the mail, so hopefully so.
Let me know. Anyway, I was in healthcare for 24 years and then had a franchise for 3.5. So I've done what I'm doing now, which is certified mindset mastery coach. For about a year. And I have the services, and now I'm working with somebody to actually do the low, medium, and high offers. So I am unfamiliar with the challenges. I haven't been involved in the challenges. And so this is great for me to learn on the surface right now. So wet behind the ears, but 30 years experience in what I've done. It's just a matter of now, I got the piece of paper and I'm doing it, but I want to help men get through self-destruction. And that's, so I have the podcast, I have the book, I have the public speaking, and I've got the coaching thing. Now it's putting it together to work for me. And that's where I'm learning now.
Nice.
You know what the challenge is perfect for? So I'll use Suzanne knows Lee Tunnyware. He had a program that dealt with subconscious mind, right? He was one of those guys, get on a call with him. That dude will figure your life.
Blow you out of the water.
So he's like, hey, I need you to do me a favor. I need to build a program around this. You need to be my client for the next 60 days. I'm like, well, I'm not paying you the 10 grand, no offense. No, you're my client right now and play full out with me and you're going to get what you need from me and you make me a program out of this. So what I'm getting at, the beauty of a 5-day challenge is you can just design a challenge with no freaking program on the back end. I get clients doing this all the time. Hey, you're my first group. I'm going to be very, very transparent. We're going to build this structure out because you're my first group. I'm going to give you the world for the next 12 months. Okay. I'm going to give you all. You got to work with me. So when this program's baked, it's going to here. This is where we're going to be. You just need to boom, 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 boom. That's how I've launched everything I do. The first 50 people paid me $7 grand to get in my program. Then I now charge 20 for it. Right. Because it's baked. Right. So it just that's what you want to do. That's why I love doing it, because I've helped so many people do that stuff.
Yeah, wonderful. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
This was great. Thanks for inviting me, Suzanne. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Matto, what you think?
Well, my head is spinning too. I wanted to ask a couple questions. One was, what do you think? Because we're all different time in our business, and personally, I'm building my business part-time. When do you think is the best time to start a challenge in the life of a business?
So it varies. I've had people just starting their business who are like, hey, I want to get some momentum going and get feedback from the market. I'm going to do a challenge because you get fast feedback. Here's the great thing about a challenge. You're going to know if what you're about to launch is going to be good or not. So I've had clients do challenges that what they were going to launch, they didn't do enough research on, and the challenge didn't flop. They realized what they were going to launch was going to flop. Then they tweaked from the feedback they got on that. When they did another challenge, boom, off they went. So it's good for that if you're early in the stage. The one thing I always tell people, though, is your brand message. You kind of need that dialed. Because not that your brand message won't change during the process. It will. Because you might find, it's this, but you want to have a halfway decent brand message that starts the process out. When you get there, I personally, and granted, I love challenges because they help me a lot with feedback I need on my programs. I think they're the fastest way to launch something and get immediate feedback fast. And then you go and build off of that. So I've helped people who are, I have 3 clients now. They're all leaving their corporate jobs within the next 12 months. And they have an idea, and we're building challenges around that because they don't have a program. They have an idea. I'm like, so build the challenge around the idea and then launch a program on the other side, right? Because they don't have a lot of time to really do weekly meetings with people, right? They can only do one-on-one stuff with people. So I'm like, get a challenge together, go get yourself 10 one-on-one clients that pay you $1,000 a month or something and work with them for 6 months, figure it out from there. So we're using a challenge for that.
Yeah.
That's
Agreed.
great. So around the idea, I like that. And then I have another question, but I may have to be part of your challenge to for you to answer that. So you said that there is a difference between offering the challenge to individuals versus corporations. So what would you say what are the elements to offer a challenge to a corporation, to corporations, I should say?
Just making sure you have a target person in that corporation you're going after. So my client that's doing the Culture Impact Challenge next week, they talk all about culture and how it's important, right? And they have 5 clients they work with, and these clients spend some crazy cash with them and big dollars, right? So I said, who were your decision makers in both of those accounts? And believe it or not, the marketing directors were the decision makers, 90%, because the brand message. And then the HR person just came in and basically yelled at them, we're not doing that. And the marketing person's like, I don't care, we have the money. So I said, good, we're going to target marketing executives. So we went after marketing executives in that case. Now, this challenge does have some HR folks in it also next week, because there were some that the responsibility laid on the HR person. So in that scenario, we got the target market in there. Their offer, though, it's all over the boards on what they do for a company, from recruiting, culture, this. I basically said, hey, you're going to have $1,000 offer on the back end. That's a consult, and this is what you'll do. And they get this, this, and this from you. And that leads into a recommendation of what you could do to help them. And they agreed. They're like, if we get paid from our consult, that's a win right there. So that's what we're structuring that one like.
I love that. I love that for Charlotte.
Runs a software company. And, you know, I used to work for him. He approached me, yeah, this challenge stuff worked for me. And I'm like, what's your offer? Blah, 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 blah. It's a $20 million software package. I'm like, all right, what is the phase to get a person from here to here? He's like, well, we have a 25K package. I'm like, okay, we could probably work there, but what's a phase you could put somewhere? We could do a $10,000 3-week consult with 2 people on site. That's where we're going to bring people to. So we dialed it to that because they know the sale. Like, I can't change a corporation sales cycle, but I can accelerate getting you in front of that right decision maker. And then you're going to still have to work the system on the back end.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's
Yep.
audio. Thank you.
Yeah. Charlotte, I immediately thought of your decision maker who you're going after, that a challenge would be incredible for a company to hire you for a challenge within their company.
Oh, that's cool. What's Charlotte do?
Charlotte's a communicate. All right, I'm going to introduce Charlotte because I'm super passionate about what she does. She does communicate.
She has helped me with everything I've done for the last 6 months. So.
Oh, thank you. A communication coach, right? So she really goes in and helps a company with their not only intergenerational communication, but with communication from leader to manager to worker.
Yeah.
And what I like about it is that in this modern day, there's so many generations communicating. Like, my son will answer me if I text, but if I call, not so much.
Yeah.
You know, there's other moms who text all day long and they don't understand why I'm not answering because I'm at work, right? And so there's communication breakdown because I hate texting. I want to talk to you on the phone. I want to hear your tone of voice. I want to hear if you're angry, mad, sad, happy. And that's why I love what Charlotte does. But I just had this vision of selling a communication challenge to a company. And what that looks like. Gamify it.
Oh, gamification is key. I didn't even get into all that, right? I gamify all my challenges. So anybody attending my challenge will understand what I mean by that. If you don't gamify a challenge, we totally screwed it up. But I didn't share that, right? Go on my challenge.
And an hour and a half ago was the first time I'd even heard of this concept. So
Yeah.
I didn't know what a challenge was.
Okay. And see, most people have been invited to a challenge and they go a challenge that was totally screwed up and done wrong. So they get an opinion on, right? And then Suzanne will tell you, she went through mine. She's like, this is totally different than what I experienced, right? Because I deal with people who are thought leaders, subject matter experts who they come across as like, hey, I got my stuff together. We're going to get this done. I'm not going to fluff you. I have a rule with my clients, no fluff. Nobody needs the motivation, the fluff, blah, blah, blah. But for you, Charlotte, so I'll give you an example. I have a woman client. She's in corporate America working a job. She knows her end date on her job is March of next year. She's already been told that. Her division's gone, but they needed her to stay on the whole way. They gave her an incentive to stay on. She wanted to leave, but I'm like, build your side hustle now. So we did a few challenges because she deals with leadership. And I'm just giving you an idea. She's dealing with leadership, young leaders who are rising up. So it's like, okay, your target market's on TikTok because that's really where they are. They're not on LinkedIn. So you've got to focus with your content on TikTok. And that's got to be your content mechanism that dials into the rest of the system. So she started doing that, did a few challenges, got some one-on-one clients. And then I said to her, I'm like, okay, you want to do this faster? Why not go into the companies? Because you're hearing the same thing from all these younger generations now of all the pain points. Why don't you go to each and every single one of their companies and say, hey, why don't we build out a 20, 30, 60, 90-day program challenge that takes your leaders from here to here? And she goes, I was going to do simple one-on-ones with people for like $1,000 a month, and you just showed me how to do $50,000, $100,000 programs. Because she's going to create an environment of excitement, feeling part of something, community, and growing people forward. So,
and that's something the companies are paying for, as opposed to the individuals.
She hasn't gotten a client yet, my full disclaimer, but she's in talks with 5 clients right now that are looking at it. And she put a $25K proposal out of $35K. And she told me today she's probably going to put the next one at $75K. That could be a whole year. So here's a woman who's going to lose her job in March. She's got a year severance package. And she's like, I land 1 or 2 of these things. I'm not even thinking about like what I have to deal with. I can go build multiple things. And
that's great.
Only because Matt, just going to go to the point. She just started on a journey with a challenge, figured things that worked, didn't work, then modified to this. And I had the light bulb moment. I'm like, all these kids are saying, kids, well, they're kids to me, okay? They're all saying the same stinking thing. Why don't you go to the leaders of those 4 companies they work for, find a decision maker, and present this opportunity to them to see if it makes sense? So that is great. That I don't know about.
That is great.
But
that's great.
Yeah.
I want to ask a quick question. I'm potentially in a collaboration with a gentleman who's a marriage counselor, and I'm doing the mindset stuff for men. And we're talking about going into corporations and seeing if and having like our package purchased by the corporation, so we could do it for their teams of men and women, because where companies their bottom line's getting hit by divorces. Because men specifically will like fall apart and not be able to focus, so the productivity goes down. So that's what we're working on in the talking phases. So a challenge would sounds like it would be something that could potentially work with this idea.
Yeah.
So I think Suzanne, you've met Eric Rogel a few times, right?
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah. So Eric, client of mine, he had a Bold Men Adventure program, right? And what ended up happening out of his, we did some challenges that was to help dads and all that. Then he ended up finding out, a lot of these dads are going through divorce, but they're running high-level divisions, and just like you said. So what ended up happening is he was dealing with some high-level people because of his challenge. He just went to those people and said, hey, your company's a mess just because you're a mess. How can I go in and help this, and this, and cover your rear in the process? Nobody needs to know what's going on in your rear.
Absolutely.
He had a guy throw $100,000 at him. Yo, I can get you in here. I got $100,000 budget. Keep my stuff to me, though. He's like, all right, we don't. That's our agreement. So he only found that because we did a challenge, and there was a couple guys in there that really their companies were going to fall apart. So yeah, it would work. Got to structure it, Drew. I'm not going to tell you it's a magic bullet. Like, you got to structure it right to the right market. You can't speak to everybody. When you niche this stuff down, your message has to talk to that person you want. It has to be dialed on that. So they're like, all these people talk about, just do the challenge. No, you got to have all this messaging down. So you, like, when somebody reads it, that's me. What's next, right? That's what you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. All right. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Suzanne.
Yeah. Anything else before we wrap up, guys? Thanks for the after party.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for staying. So you all stay up. I'll keep on throwing tips out. What I'll do, Suzanne, is I know you saw it in the chat. I'll just send out exactly what I said for the $75, and anybody that upgrades the VIP, I'll give